It's hard to believe that this game came out 10 years ago. I believe the official date was August 25th, 2009. And as some of you may know, I'm a huge Batman fan. So I debated about what I wanted to do. Did I want to live stream? Did I want to do a Let's Play? I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to run around Arkham Asylum and just share my thoughts, my views, my opinions as a Batman fan, as a comic books fan, as a gamer, and everything in the back of my head that I'm going to pull up out of the Batcave when it comes to Batman Arkham Asylum. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go into one of my playlists that I've beaten back in 2009, and I'm just going to run around the map and share my thoughts regarding the 10-year anniversary of Batman Arkham Asylum. And you're welcome to share your thoughts as well below in the comments section. So here we are, Arkham Asylum, 10 years later. And this is the original copy of Arkham Asylum, not the remaster. And yes, I am playing on my 360. I pulled my 360 out of the closet, vacuumed it, cleaned it up a little bit. I had to get a download on it because it's been ages since I've pulled out my 360. And I only pulled it out for this very special occasion to mark, well, officially 10 years since Batman Arkham Asylum came out. And like I mentioned a moment ago, I am a huge Batman fan. Now, I realize that predominantly on my channel, I stream and cover Grand Theft Auto Online, Red Dead Online. But every now and then, I like to play something a little different. And it's not, well, it's not out of the wheelhouse for me to also play some Batman. I have done that a few times as well. Like most recently, seasons 1 and 2 of Batman the Telltale series. I loved both seasons, by the way. It's unfortunate that Telltale is gone. So I don't know if Skybound has any intention of bringing back Batman Telltale series. But at the same time, you're always welcome to go back to my playlist and check out all my Batman content. And if there's ever a future Batman game, definitely going to be playing that. Hells yes. So, where does it all begin? My love for Batman. I know that didn't sound right, but it's okay. I'm fine with that. It begins when I was a kid. My granny used to love to make things. She loved to knit and sew. And at the time, you know, she would let me watch cartoons when I went to go visit her and my papaw during the summer times in the winter. And one of the shows Granny would let me watch reruns of back in the 80s when I was a kid was the 1960s Adam West Batman fan TV show. And I became a fan. I mean, looking back, yeah, it was cheesy. And it you know, some people would argue that that's not really Batman. But hey, you know, it was the 60s, okay? It was the 60s. That's just the way it was back then for them. But I became a Batman fan from that point. And my granny actually made some capes. She sewed together some capes for me. She made a black and orange one. And she also made a blue and orange one. It was very weird. Like the bat logo on both was, on the back was like an orange bat logo. And like the outside of the cape was black and the other one was blue. And then the inside of the capes were orange. I don't know why Granny decided to do that, but that's just my Granny. And she was great at that sort of thing. And I still wish I had those capes. I mean, obviously, I couldn't wear them anymore. But, you know, for sentimental reasons, right? So a few years later, in '89, Tim Burton's Batman came out with Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson. It was a hit. And it was a completely different Batman than what a lot of people were used to when it came to Batman. Now, there was obviously graphic novels by Frank Miller and some darker comics, but there was a point where Batman was very campy. Very campy. Not at the beginning, though. At the very beginning. No, he wasn't. He was kind of dark in the beginning, but then he became campy in the 50s and 60s. And then I think in the 70s, he started becoming darker again. More, instead of the Caped Crusader, he became the Dark Knight. So, yes, I don't think I got to go watch Batman because I was still a kid. I was like 8 or 9 years old when the first Batman Tim Burton movie came out. So I don't think I got a chance to go watch that. But it came out later on VHS. Yes, VHS. Yes, it predates DVD. It was beautiful too, by the way. It was like a black box with the 1989 Batman logo on it. It looked beautiful. I still wish I had that, by the way. Just like I wish I still had the capes. Not because monetarily it'd be worth something, but sentimental. Like I said, I'm a huge Batman fan. And so that really did make Batman even more popular. And then, of course, he directed Batman Returns with Michael Keaton returning as Bruce Wayne Batman, along with Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Christopher Walken was in it. And, of course, the legendary Danny DeVito as the Penguin. And it was all right. It was a good sequel. I would say that of the two Tim Burton movies, obviously, the first one was the best, but for a sequel, Batman Returns was okay. Then, of course, you had the Schumacher age. God, those... I mean, all right, I'll say that Val Kilmer as Batman was okay. It was all right, but you could already tell that they were going in a different direction with Batman, with Schumacher. They changed the theme, which was a big no-no for me, because I loved the Danny Elfman score from the first two Tim Burton Batman films. And then the George Clooney Batman and Robin, don't get me started on that. But somewhere in between the Tim Burton Batman films and the Schumacher films, as I just run around here in what's left of Arkham Asylum, somewhere in between, a cartoon came out called Batman the Animated Series, which became quite popular. And Batman was voiced by Kevin Conroy. And so there were several great voice actors and actresses involved with Batman the Animated Series over the years. And one of those voice actors, who was once a Jedi in a galaxy far, far away, Mark Hamill, also became iconic for voicing the Joker, the Crown Prince of Crime. And you could very well say that it is thanks to Tim Burton and to the Batman Animated Series that we got the Batman Arkhamverse. Because there is, in my opinion, a connection between all of this. It all connects, in my opinion, to some degree. Not canonically, but it's inspired. It's thanks to. Because of the popularity of Tim Burton's Batman films, because of the popularity of Batman the Animated Series, and Mask of the Phantasm, the other Batman films I didn't really care for as much. Well, the Batman Kevin Conroy films, the animated films. Well, Return of the Joker was good, which, was also a spin-off, because of Batman Beyond. I loved Batman Beyond. Even though people back then hated Batman Beyond, I think over the years, the fan base for Batman Beyond has grown. And that's because of Batman the Animated Series. And, of course, Superman, the animated series, was because of the success of Batman the Animated Series. And then, of course, the Justice League series. All that thanks to Batman. And you could give Tim Burton some credit for that as well, I suppose. I mean, lately, I haven't been very impressed with some of his work recently, but in the past, he was great. Beetlejuice, also with Michael Keaton. And then, of course, Edward Scissorhands. A few good films. I don't know if I want to go into the gardens. I'm good, thanks. So, from there, we saw the Caped Crusader, The Dark Knight, put on a little hiatus after Batman and Robin. Thank you, Schumacher. Very cool. But then Christopher Nolan brought it back along with, Christian Bale, who I thought was a great Batman and Bruce Wayne. He's my favorite. Of all the live-action Batmans and Bruce Wayne's, if you combo them, right? Because some people were like, well, this actor was a great Batman, but a terrible Bruce Wayne, and this actor was a great Bruce Wayne, but a terrible Batman. I would say if you were to even Steven, if you were to balance it out and say, okay, which one was better? Let's go into the mansion real quick. We'll go on inside. Too many fireworks. We're all celebrating the 10-year anniversary, all of us here, along with Mr. Arkham up there. But, yeah, Christian Bale, in my opinion, is probably the best live-action Batman. Now, who is the best voice-acted Batman? And who could you say is, in my opinion, the best actor to portray Batman of all time? It would be Kevin Conroy. And when I found out that Arkham Asylum was coming out 10 years ago, well, a little over 10 years ago, with Kevin Conroy voicing Batman and Mark Hamill voicing the Joker, I was already excited. In fact, I downloaded the demo the moment it came out, and I loved it. I think the demo came out like a month or two prior, back when we actually had demos, yeah, back in the day. And I loved the demo. I played it, like, it only lasted for like a few, like, what was it, 10, 20 minutes at the most, I think? But I played that demo over and over again, waiting for Arkham Asylum to come out. And I would just go online to, like, GameSpot or IGN. Yeah, they existed back then as well. Oh, there's Gordon. Hello, Jim. How you doing? And I just couldn't help but try and get as much information about Arkham Asylum as possible. Long before I had the gaming channel. I mean, I was working on actually launching my... Oh, hey, hello, guys. Cash! Cash, how you been? You doing all right? Good to see you.
1 minute, the plants were all over the room. The next, they all just kind of died.
Yeah, it happens, Franklin. It happens. But, yeah. So, this was... You know, I think there were gaming channels in 2009, but because YouTube was very limited back then, like, you can only put up, like very short videos, and I think there was just people that were just putting up clips back then of gaming videos. But back then I was about to launch a political channel, which I've recently rebranded. But we're talking about Batman, not lousy stinking politics. Yeah, I don't care about politics either, but it's like a bug. It's like a bug I can't get rid of. It's like Batman. I'll never be able to get rid of Batman. So online back when, I guess that was one of the ways we got more news. I mean, we still do get it through, you know, various gaming sites, but I think like social media has taken it into a different direction. Of course, the gaming conventions that can be streamed now, so you don't have to go to E3 anymore to know what's going on, or the PAXs or Gamescom. So I was trying to get as much information about Arkham Asylum as possible, and of course, obviously, I was instantly sold on the fact that they were bringing in Kevin Conroy as Batman, Mark Hamill as Joker. And I was also amazed in the interviews how they talked about how you actually had, in order to play the game, you actually had to think like Batman. It was like, what would Batman do? And I love that. I'm like, yes, this is what I want. I want a video game. Because I had an idea before that. I've always had ideas. Too many ideas, if you ask me. But I had an idea years ago, prior. Because I was a huge Grand Theft Auto fan, right? Grand Theft Auto fan, Red Dead fan. This is before Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, by the way, because Red Dead Redemption 2 came out a year later. So, getting a little ahead of ourselves. But, obviously, Grand Theft Auto Online... I mean, Grand Theft Auto was still a thing. Let's see, you know, Grand Theft Auto 4 was out, and before that, I played the 3Ds, like Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas. So, obviously, a huge open-world fan. I loved open-world games. And that's what I was wanting from a Batman game. I was wanting an open-world game where you could be the Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight, and you could roam around Gotham. And my idea was where, like, during the daytime, you would be Bruce Wayne, right? You'd be the billionaire, the guy who runs Wayne Enterprises, and being the playboy, having to keep up appearances. But at night, you would put on the cape and cowl, and you'd go off being Batman. But also during the daytime, you would run around doing kind of like Blue's Clues, and kind of like what they did in the animated series. And to Telltale's credit, they actually kind of sort of did that with the series, with their series. They did that. It wasn't necessarily open world like the Arkham games were, but it allowed that balance between Batman and Bruce. And for the story, it was fantastic. I loved it. Like I said, I'm a huge Batman fan. You know, whether it's Batman Telltale or Batman Arkham, love them both. And so when Batman Arkham Asylum finally came out after the demo, obviously I pre-ordered it. I think I pre-ordered it from GameStop. I went to go pick it up, and I was so freaking excited. Oh, so excited. I just spent days playing this game. Getting salty, obviously, because most of you know by now, you know, I'm not exactly a pro gamer. I fail a lot, so, you know, if the gaming channel would have been around 10 years ago, my channel would be a lot bigger, but it's not. But I'm happy with what I got. I accept what I have. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you, my awesome viewers, subscribers, and fans. But you can imagine how salty I would have gotten, even back then, 10 years ago, playing this game. Because there were a lot of fails. A lot of fails. Even though, huge Batman fan, obviously. I think I've kind of pointed that out. I think I've made the case that I kind of sort of like Batman. Kind of, sort of. And obviously I know how Batman works. I know how he functions. So you think with all that, you know, knowledge before the game starts, you think I'd have done a better job. But, you know, it happened. There was some trial and errors, especially further into the game. Like, I remember, like, the first time I fought Bane, I had a hell of a time fighting Bane. Like, he kicked my ass so many times before I finally beat him. And, like, sneaking around was always been something I've had trouble with. Now, I would kind of go half and half. Like, I would be able to sneak around a little bit. And avoid snipers or any of the other Joker goons. But there were times when they would just wreck me. And I think out here a few times I got wrecked a few times out here. Once or twice out here. But every time that I managed to accomplish a level in Arkham Asylum, going further and further into the map, you know, liberating and rescuing nurses and doctors and putting away bad guys from Zaz to all the others, working my way up, you know, to Harley Quinn and to Joker, you know, taking out Bane, and going into the sewers and having to be really slow because you were so terrified that Killer Croc was just going to jump out of the water and grab you. That shit freaking got to me. Because I was like, oh fuck. Because I've always had this thing about, like, shark movies. I mean, I've loved shark movies, but they always scared me when I was a kid, like Jaws, and of course in my teens when Deep Blue Sea came out. You know, there's just something about, you know, that scenario. And, you know, Killer Croc, you know, in the water, just waiting to crush you, waiting to chew you up into bones. And I think I actually beat it the first time I did the Killer Croc mission. Because I think it was because I was just being so slow and cautious. And I think that's what saved my bacon there. It saved my bat bacon doing that against Killer Croc. So I was happy about that. I finally did something right in my life in the game. Yeah. And going up against Harley Quinn, of course, voiced by Arlene Sorkin. She was the original voice actress for Harley in the Batman animated series. In fact, that's where Harley comes from. And she was, of course, written by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. I'm sorry if they're watching. They're probably not watching. If they are, huge fan. But that's where Harley came from, Batman the Animated Series, and I loved her from the very beginning. I was so glad that she became a regular character and she, you know, became, you know, a star. Now, how do I feel about how she's portrayed in that new animated series? I don't like it. I mean, for one thing, I think Harley Quinn should have that voice. You know, the voice that Arlene used, the voice that... What was the other actress? She also voiced Harley Quinn in Arkham City and Arkham Knight, and I think she voiced Harley in a couple of the animated movies. I'm trying to remember her name. I forget her name. Tara, was it? No, it wasn't Tara Reid. I forgot her name. And if she is watching, I'm sorry. But at the same time, that's the Harley Quinn I was used to, that voice. And so whenever Harley shows up, and the first time you ever see Harley without her little jester outfit on, and she's in a little nurse outfit, and you're like, oh, damn. Hello, Harley. But I quickly came to realize how different this Batman was from Batman the Animated Series. Now, obviously, the Batman the Animated Series was really, really dark for a kid's show, and it's a show that can be enjoyed today by kids and adults. But obviously, compared to Arkham Asylum and Arkham City and Arkham Knight, and yes, even Arkham Origins, even though that wasn't made by Rocksteady, really dark. In the animated series, I don't think anyone ever actually got killed. Like, the bad guys always got caught. Anyone in trouble, like, they got the laughing gas. I don't think anybody that got laughing gas by Joker ever died. But they went to the hospital, and of course, Batman had a cure. Him and Alfred, they whipped up a cure, and everything was fine. Everything was hunky-dory. But in Batman Arkham Asylum, nope. Nope. People died. And even before, you know, Arkham Asylum, I knew that was a thing in Batman. I mean, like Frank Miller's, you know, Dark Knight Returns, a few other graphic novels as well, like Death in the Family, The Killing Joke, for example. Just to name a few. Yeah, obviously, very graphic, very dark, showing you how dark Batman can be. Well, the world of Batman. And I would say that, Christopher Nolan's Batmans, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, two of my favorite films of all time. It's up there along with Ghostbusters, the Back to the Future trilogy, the original Star Wars trilogy. It's up there. A few others as well. But I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I love the first two films in the Dark Knight trilogy. And you could also make the argument, and this is something I haven't brought up, that not only can you thank Batman, Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson. Basically, he was just playing Jack Nicholson, but with a nice purple suit and makeup. Still did a great job, though. Jack Nicholson's a great actor. But you have to also give credit to the Christopher Nolan trilogy. Well, especially like Batman Begins, which came out in 2005, which brought back the resurgence of the Dark Knight's popularity. Followed a few years later by, Batman Begins 2005, then Dark Knight 2008. Hopefully I didn't get that bass backwards. I think I got that right. And I think that's part of the reason why, you probably could appreciate those movies for renewing interest in Batman. Not saying it ever died, but I have to wonder if those movies never came out in 2005, 2008, would we have gotten Batman Arkham Asylum? Because I'm sure to some degree, DC and Warner Brothers, that probably encouraged them to support Rocksteady in this project. Because at the time, I don't really recall what else Rocksteady made. Because I'm not completely familiar with it. We'll just go this way. I think I'm going around in circles, but it's fine. A story of my life, running around in bad circles. But yeah, I think that thanks to Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale and Michael Caine and of course Heath Ledger, who did a great job as Joker in 2008. The popularity of those two films, I think, definitely went a long ways towards ensuring that we were going to get this game. Because I think that if it wasn't for this game, if it wasn't for those movies and obviously years and decades of fandom for Batman, and of course, obviously credit to the animated series and Paul Dini, who also wrote Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, and of course the entire development team at Rocksteady for making this game what it is. And over the years, people, I guess, have become more of an Arkham City fan than an Arkham Knight fan. I love Arkham City, by the way. I absolutely love Arkham City. But this is the game that started it all when it comes to the Arkham franchise. Even though technically Arkham Origins is a prequel made by WB Montreal. And it's an okay game. I played through it as well. I played through all of them. And I think the developers did the best they could with the material that they had. But this is where it began. Batman Arkham Asylum. And it's not really a big map, to be honest. See, I'll show you guys. I'll show you the map. So, you got several locations. You got the intensive treatment. We haven't gone there yet. We ran over here to the penitentiary, Arkham. So you got several locations, right? You have the outside of the map. The outdoor part of Arkham Island. Arkham North, Arkham East, Arkham West. You got this tunnel you can run through. So, I guess let's see, how do we get in here? I forgot how we get in here. But anyway, so all in all, the map is relatively small. But there's so much detail and love and attention put into this map. There's so many Easter eggs. And of course, Riddler trophies just lying around and wait for you to find. And the story of Arkham Asylum was very good. I think most of you know the story by now. I'm sure if you want to watch the cutscenes, there's a few channels on YouTube that probably have made it a movie, and it's even for the sake of watching it as a movie on YouTube, just sitting back on your couch or chilling and just watching it like that. Even if you have no intention of going back and playing this game, it's worth watching that way as a story, because it's very well voice acted. I think I've made that point. And the story's great. The characters, all of them are pretty good. Okay, I can't go in that way. Sadness. It won't let us in. Alright, we'll go up that way. Maybe we can go in this way. But yeah, I know. It's... Some people would look at this game today and be like, 2009, oh, wow. But back in 2009, this was awesome. It still is awesome. And I never got the remasters because I always heard there were issues with the remasters. And that just was kind of a turnoff for me. A major turnoff. But, like, I was even thinking about purchasing the remaster for my Xbox One X. And that was one of my original ideas, was to actually stream that. You know, the remaster of Arkham Asylum start to finish. Of course, it would be kind of like a package deal. You'd get that along with Arkham City for like 20 bucks. But always the type of person that likes to read the reviews. And sure enough, some of the reviews weren't very good. And one of the more recent reviews was from 2018. And the person happened to mention an issue with the game if you were to play it on Xbox One X, which is what I happen to have. So right there was that kind of killed the idea for me. Because there was part of me that actually wanted to stream this. I actually kind of sort of wanted to stream it. And one thing I really like is this right here. So from the very beginning of the game, once you get to this area, you'll see guys working over here building something. And throughout the progression of the game, they continue to build this until the very end of the game, when it's revealed to be the face of Joker. And then when you go into the visitor center, you would always visit Joker, or I think once or twice it was Harley, and they would kind of taunt you. They would taunt you a few times, like throughout the game. You didn't have to go to the visitor center, but it was just another extra thing that you could do. But it was just so cool to see the progression of that throughout the course of the story. And a lot of people may have not known that, and maybe didn't even think about it, or never kept going back to the visitor center. But I definitely did, especially during my second playthrough. Because once I beat the game the first time, I had to go back and play it again, because I knew I missed stuff. But the interiors look great. They look worn down. This looks like a place you really don't want to be. Not the nicest place. Yeah. If they ever do bring back like asylums or sanitariums, hopefully they look a little nicer. I know that they actually exist still. Much nicer than this. But yeah, it doesn't have the same freedom that Arkham City had. Like where you could basically glide around the map if you got really good at it, and the grapple hook. But there was just something to this game. Something about it. The confined spaces, having to crawl your way through the ducts, and having to be smart and be stealthy and sneak around the guards and the insane inmates like Zaz and a few others as well, like Scarecrow. The Scarecrow missions also, I forgot to mention the Scarecrow missions before I wrap up. Yeah, those were like something completely different in the game as well. Different little mini maps, and you know, it would go off to the side, and it would be kind of like a side scroller of sorts. And those were fantastic as well. It just added something completely different to the game. And the fact you had to like sneak up to Scarecrow, and he couldn't see you, because if he saw you, he'd get you, and then you'd have to start the map over. Oh, and that's another thing I liked, is the fact that every time you died, in a weird way, you were kind of rewarded. So even though you would get salty about dying, depending on which boss you were going after, there would be cutscenes with the bosses like laughing at you, taunting you. Whether it was Joker, or Harley, or Killer Croc, or Zaz, or obviously Scarecrow. Is that all of them, I think? And then, of course, like I mentioned a moment ago, Riddler. Riddler wasn't a villain per se. He was in the background, always taunting you as well. And that was part of the thing you could do on the side, is collect Riddler trophies. So that was kind of fun, too. And I also liked the voice actor that voiced Riddler. He did a good job. I think all the voice actors in Arkham Asylum did a fantastic job. And some of them actually came back to voice their roles in Arkham City as well as Arkham Knight, except for Scarecrow. Except for Scarecrow, because they brought in John Noble to voice Scarecrow in Arkham Knight. And I like the voice actor that did Scarecrow in Arkham Asylum. But I can understand why they would get a legendary actor like John Noble. Fantastic. You know, from Denethor and, you know, Lord of the Rings to Fringe and several other movies and TV shows he's been on. Phenomenal actor. And he was perfect for the role of Scarecrow. And I can understand why they had him as Scarecrow. Because, yeah, spoilers, in case you're wondering, Scarecrow, by the end of Arkham Asylum, gets fucked up by Killer Croc. Yeah, Killer Croc has his way with him, and, like, Scarecrow's a bloody mess. And they Easter egg Scarecrow, like, they have some, like, Scarecrow Easter eggs in Arkham City, insinuating that he's eventually going to come back. And, of course, he comes back in a really big way in Arkham Knight. But, yeah, I still like the voice actor for Scarecrow in Arkham Asylum. I thought he did a good job. Like I said, I thought they all did a great job. And this game was great. I mean, you could start off on easy, and if you did really good at easy, then you could go to normal, then you could do hard. I never did hard because like I mentioned, not the best. But I did manage to beat the game on normal after I played it on easy, so I worked my way up. I found more Easter eggs. I think I found all the Riddler trophies during one playthrough. And of course you get the cutscene where you hear Riddler getting arrested by the cops because Batman's figured out he's triangulated where Riddler's hiding. And you only hear it in the background. Like, you become more involved with Riddler in Arkham City and obviously Arkham Knight than you are in Arkham Asylum. But still, it's kind of cool to have him in the background just taunting you while you're trying to get the Riddler trophies. And, of course, there were clues as well. You would go in, like that, or Detective Vision. Okay, there's Detective Mode. So, yeah, I'm remembering how the controls work. I'm remembering. So, yeah, this is a great game. Of course, you would have, like a ton of gadgets. The Batarangs. You could upgrade the bat suit, make it stronger for melee combat, for bullets. Other good goodies as well. And one thing that people, I think, didn't like about, I guess you could say, Arkham Asylum was once you beat the game, this was it. You would just run around looking for the Easter eggs and collecting Riddler trophies, anything that you missed out on. And there was just nothing else to do after the game was over. Now, to Rocksteady's credit, they did kind of change that up for Arkham City and Arkham Knight, where there was always still, like, villains and bad guys running around Arkham City and, of course, Arkham Knight for you to fight and pummel. And then, of course, there's all the little the bat challenges you could do, like fighting and stuff. Those were cool as well. People love doing that. And it was good to practice in order to get better at mashing the buttons and learning how to properly dodge enemies and do combos and timing and everything, and, like, taking out this specific enemy and that specific enemy. Ah, damn it. I was trying to do a sweet glide there. I fudged it up, bats. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. But it was fantastic coming back to this game for a few minutes. Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah. I mean, they continued adding to the game, to the franchise, like I mentioned. Making it bigger and grander. And everyone's going to always say their favorite was this Batman game or that Batman game. But if I'm being totally honest, even though like I said, I loved Arkham City, Arkham Knight was alright. Even though it wasn't written by Paul Dini, even though there were some cliche things that I found predictable. And the irony is, it was one of those examples of be careful what you wish for. Ever since Arkham Asylum, we wanted the Batmobile. And finally, in Arkham Knight, we got the Batmobile. But all the missions for the Batmobile, God, they were something else. Yeah, it just got to the point where I just dreaded using the Batmobile. To be honest. I was like, you know what, I'd rather just... Every, like, excuse I had just to fly around as Batman, avoid the drones. I was content. Quite content with that. But I seriously hope that, even though Rocksteady's secretly working on a different game, no, not a Batman game, I sincerely hope that we may see a future Batman game down the road. I know there's been talks of different, like, projects that maybe WB Montreal has been working on. I think a couple of them have been canceled. Some of that information actually leaked out like a week or two ago. I forgot what the code name of the game was called, but it was an interesting concept. A lot of people didn't really like the idea of it. There was like a female Black Masks and whatnot, but I'm hoping that if WB Montreal is in fact working on a new Batman game set in the Arkhamverse, hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully it'll live up to Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Because I would very much like to put back on the cape and cowl and get back out there as the Dark Knight. And I think that one of the other rumors was that it was supposed to be like Damian Wayne taking on the Cape and Cowl, like years after Arkham Knight. So, anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's all speculation, rumors, leaks, innuendos that may or may not be true. But hopefully, just hopefully, we will see a future game sooner or later, and hopefully we will see Batman return to the big screen in glory. I'm excited about the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie coming out this fall. Or is it in a couple weeks? It's coming out sooner or later. Sooner rather than later, we're going to see that Joker movie. I hear it's really good. I don't think it's going to have anything to do with any of the previous Batman movies or Batman v Superman or Justice League, which I'm fine with. Because I know I think they're going with Robert Pattinson as the next Dark Knight. And say what you will about Twilight. I never watched Twilight. I could care less for that. Those are not vampires, in my opinion. I hear Robert Pattinson's a great actor. And what Matt Reeves, is it Matt Reeves that's directing it? I feel like there's hope for the new Batman movie. Hopefully it'll be good. I'm willing to give it a chance. Because I can't wait for the next Batman movie to hit the big screen. And hopefully it'll bring back the DC-verse. Yes, I know. Wonder Woman has helped. So is Aquaman. They need the Dark Knight, though. We need to get Batman back on the main screen. And we need a new Batman game. Even though Rocksteady's working on something else, probably DC-related, most likely, because they're under WB. Hopefully that'll be a great game. I'll definitely play that, whatever it happens to be. I don't think it's going to be Superman, because that was squashed a while back. But if WB's working on, like WB Montreal and Canada's working on a great Batman game, if it turns out good, I'm definitely going to be playing it somewhere down the road. And I would even play Season 3 of Batman Telltale, but I don't think that is going to happen. But if you're a fellow Batman fan, I would love to know one of these things. You can answer all of it below in the comment section if you want. Your favorite Batman video game, or your favorite Batman TV show, or your favorite Batman movie, or your favorite Batman comic, or your favorite Batman graphic novel, or your favorite actor who has portrayed the Dark Knight. Feel free and let me know below in the comments section.